I found that INTJs have helped me the most with my self-awareness.
So, how is an INTJ beneficial to an INFJ then? Across, just generally
Right,
speaking, if both genders are able to receive that kind of advice or help or whatever it may be.
right. Because that's the key. The INFJ has to be receptive to it. They have to have reached a certain point in their life where they're ready to receive it. I'm not going to say it's the delivery is harsh necessarily, but it is kind of direct. And I think the INFJ has to be at a certain place in life where that's okay. Or maybe in the place, the point in their life where they desire it, like they are looking for it. They're looking for that help to get to the next level in development, in
Right.
personal development.
Yeah, that's something I notice. Unless you guys are looking for it, it doesn't really exist.
Yes. Yes, you have to. Yes, that's the thing, and that's what's kind of interesting. There has to be some level of awareness in order to go looking for something.
Yeah, I think a lot of feeler types kind of conduct themselves in this way. They just sort of go through life reacting to things. They see one thing, they react negatively. They see another thing, they react positively, and it sort of shapes them as they go. It's quite strange, a strange thing for me. It's something I had to sort of spend a lot of time wrapping my head around
Hmm.
because it just didn't make sense at all. But it just seems to be the way. And with INFJs, it's like they're on this sort of trajectory where they don't need to move from. So they got to get to the end of it before they start the next road trip or whatever.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
you're, if you know, I come in the INTJ like, hey, let me point out something obvious, and then they're like, ugh, you bird, and they don't like it. They're not willing to hear it, or
Right.
accept any sort of validity
Well,
for
because
what I
it
say,
is.
especially if it is true.
Yes, well, that's the thing because it stings, and but you have to realize that, some wounding is necessary.
Yes, that's the distinctive trait
Yes.
that the really good INFJs have.
It's
They're
like,
able to understand that and then grow, and
yes.
that's what makes them better.
Well, that's the way of nature. I mean, you look at fruit trees. They have to be pruned. In a sense, they have to be wounded to get to the next level of growth. I mean, that's just the law of nature. And if, things don't grow, let's just say made uncomfortable, right? If they're not made uncomfortable, then they can't get to that next stage of growth. So if you're always going to
Yes,
stay where you are, you can't grow. And so I think anyone, it doesn't matter who you are, you have to recognize that to grow. And I think for an INFJ, it's difficult because we are so sensitive to the wounding.
how does your type get to that point where it just says, oh, okay, I accept this truth?
Mm. That's hard for me to answer, see, because again, this is like these are self-reflective questions. There has to be something that happens in your life, I think. There's some got to be a catalyst of some sort that I don't know, there has to be something has to happen for you to be aware that you're not aware.
Yes, like a sort of intuitive sort of network of events that all suggest at one point this sort of like Big Bang theory of the INFJ mind where it all comes together. And they say, oh, you
Everything
know what?
explodes at once.
The INTJ is the true supreme type. They were right.
No, it doesn't quite work like that. I have said this before so many places, and I do believe it. It's like when you do have that intuitive understanding, like it's kind of subliminal. You know inside that something has to change. I think you go looking for it. Even though you don't know what you're looking for, but but you do know what you're looking for. It's very
So
hard to explain.
you've decided that you're looking for it. Then say like someone like me innocently comes along, like la di da di da, comes in and like just is a complete savage by accident, naively. It's brutal. And then you say, well, actually, I quite like that. Or what? Why? Like, what determines the negative?
I don't know. I mean, I think that that could be the experience of some people, but I also think that in seeing and okay, having a close interaction or really listening to an INTJ explain themselves, explain their thought process, explain the way they see things, I think that helps the INFJ see themselves. It doesn't necessarily have to even be a personal interaction. There's something in that.
Right. Yeah. So you just observe our type, and we're like pretty confident this is the way the world works. Don't worry about that. And then you think, yes, maybe it does work like that. And then you sort of like find truth in yourself like that.
Yes, I have also said this before. I kind of believe that the INTJ can act as a mirror for an INFJ. Not completely, because you are different than we are. But there's something about you that mirrors something back to us that other people are incapable of doing. Like you go through your life and
Right.
you are always molding yourself to fit the other person you're in interaction with. And then you meet this person or you see this person that doesn't happen with. In my experience, INTJs have noticed me first, I think, which makes sense because you have more of an innate understanding at a young age of who you are. So when you see someone who is like you, you're going to recognize
Yes.
them.
You kind of establish that everyone's just absolute idiot. And then you're like, oh, there must be someone out there like me. And then by that, what we are thinking is like an introverted, intuitive person. So then you're sort of like checking out your class, and you're like, hey, are you like me? And then you're like, no, he's obviously fallible. Get rid of him. That guy's a joke. He's illogical. He does this. That guy would throw you under the bus within 5 minutes. You don't have much. You don't have much hope.
You lose hope quickly.
And then you're like, yes, obviously, I'm some kind of alien. Like, why don't I fit in here? What's going on? So then you are consciously like looking for that introverted, intuitive person like yourself.
In immaturity, I think it might be a little bit more of a difficult dynamic. At first, it might be very good and, like that instant understanding, that connection. But I think if an INFJ isn't ready for that kind of growth, it's not going to happen. I don't know. I could be wrong, depending on the timing of things. I don't know.
I don't think I met any INFJs of what I would consider them. The thing is, the trouble with you guys is, because of what you just said, you're not looking like INFJs as we would deem them.
Yeah, right. You're seeing I don't want to say the finished product, but you're looking sort of for that. You're looking for
Yes.
You're looking for the aware one, the one that's
Yeah.
self-aware.
And it's weird. So like, I probably met a few.
I'm
I
sure
think.
you did. I was.
But they just weren't noticeable because they're all like do-lallying about, being somebody else.
Yes. Yes.
So then I look at that in my infancy and just think, oh, well, that person's an idiot.
Well, I think it's because in younger years you're really seeing the FE.
Yes.
If you're out and about in social situations, you're not, you're seeing that FE in action.
Yeah, I suppose you would have to get to know that INFJ over sort of a length of time to really see the intuitiveness, really.
Hmm. So I think that when that INFJ is ready, however we get there, there's just something about the INTJ that can propel us to some serious growth and understanding about ourselves. And again, I think it's because the INTJ can see the INFJ in a way that no others can. And you point out, what should be the obvious, and I've said this before, but I think that, most of us INFJ people, and we're very clever. We can fool people, so to speak. Like we can hide and
Yeah,
dodge and evade, and they don't see, who we are. We won't let that be seen, and we'll kind of be cloaked in that. But when it comes to the INTJ, you can't do that as an INFJ. There's no hiding. You
yeah,
just,
we're exactly the same, really. Like
yes,
you're sort of using sort of FE, and we're using TE to sort of outwit. Well, combined with introverted intuition to sort of outwit and just mastermind people.
mm-hmm. Yes,
To protect ourselves. It's very easy, isn't it?
mm-hmm.
And people just don't they don't see through how like deceitful we can be.
Yes, but I would say the difference is you do it knowingly while we do it unknowingly. Like it takes a long time to realize because we're always scratching our heads like, how come people don't see me? I think we realize we're not being seen. We don't realize that it's because we're not letting ourselves be seen. Like we don't even know that, you know? It takes a
Right.
little bit of like understanding to finally realize, well, I'm not being seen by these other people because I'm hiding.
Why is that then? Like, is that because you're too busy
Yes, you're too
giving
busy.
people what they want,
Yes,
or is it
exactly.
because you're right?
Yes. You're so caught up in the individual that you
That
kind
you
of
don't
like,
really, consider to really represent yourself,
yes, exactly.
and then you think,
And then time goes by
oh, how
and then you
come
have
people don't get me?
yes, and then you have so many interactions and then you kind of get, of a certain age and then you think, why does no one care about me? How come no one asks me how I am? Why don't people reciprocate when I give, when I show interest to them? Why don't they do the same back? And then you start to realize, I'm not being seen here. And it happens over and over again. And then you realize, well, it's because you're not letting yourself be seen. But see, the INTJ comes along and it doesn't matter. Like that doesn't happen. You are seen instantly. It's like it's just kind of laser, just kind of comes right through.
I think it depends. Depends on how far along we are. I don't know. Like at this stage, I would notice INFJs instantly. I might not say, "Oh, that's an INFJ," like instantly, but I'd be like, I would know something's up with that person. As a kid, you're less familiar with people, so if I said, "Oh, that person's interesting," like I can't be wrong, because if I've only met like 100 people in my life, I can make mistakes about oh, this guy's interesting. Actually, no, he's not. He's really annoying or whatever.
Right. Yeah, so I mean I agree with that, but I still think that even when you as INTJs in general, when you're younger, I still think you see you see something in the INFJ, and I think it's something that's familiar to you or similar to you.
Yeah, I don't think we differentiate. Do you know what I mean? We just see introverted intuition.
Yes. Yes.
We don't think of it in terms of like FE, unless you are attracted to FE specifically as an individual. There's just something very interesting about introverted intuition. You never see it, and in the rare occasion you do.
So I think for an INFJ, when you see it in an INTJ, you know, it's like you're looking into a mirror, so to speak, and you don't see that in other people. It immediately gets your attention because it's not something that happens to you very often at all throughout your life. There's a sense of knowing that I can learn something here because this person is like me in a way that I've never seen in someone else. And I think it's the introverted intuition combined with the self-awareness in the INTJ that make it so mesmerizing or magnetic. I don't know what word to use, but there's something that draws, well, that should draw us in.
Yeah, it's just that weirdness, isn't it? That weirdness.
Weirdness, yes.
I don't know. It's just funny because I don't know. Everybody's just so generic, and then when you see one of us, you think, hang about. This person's interesting. What's with this person? What is this? Why are they so quiet? Why are they the opposite to everyone else, which is also like me? But you don't think of that. You're so like obsessed with it at the time that you don't think, oh, this guy's exactly like me. You're just there, like, you're like, what is this?
Yes, but there's something, again, because the INTJs are usually self-aware from a younger age, that I think when the two meet, you help the INFJ understand more about themselves because you can sort of make connections between how you do things versus how we do things. So for instance, yes, we have the dominant introverted intuition, but in a sense, our FE and TE function similarly, and our TI and FI as well.
Yeah.
And you are able to put that together because you're able to self-reflect with your FI. And you're able to then make very accurate observations, guesses, whatever, conclusions about our type. And then you kind of, I think it's like you put it out there, maybe fishing, but kind of really being confident in it and see what happens. I mean, I think that's kind of how you operate in general with people, no matter what type they are. But I think with the INFJ, because you know who you are, you're able to see who we are.
Right. Yes, that's it. You don't know that we're interesting if you don't know that you're interesting.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think when the INFJ gets to that point in life, again, going back to whatever creates that awareness, like there's a need. Okay, I have a need to find somebody to help me. When we get to that point in life, that's when the INTJ can really be helpful. Just in general interactions, an INFJ can find it abrasive a little bit. I don't know, and it's hard because you have to kind of reach a certain level with someone in a relationship with them.
Yes, we're just sort of like throwing around our sledgehammer, like,
Yes.
we don't know what we're doing.
Right. Right.
So then you're like, stay away from that.
So, I mean, I've said some things. So from your perspective, like, how do you help me, see who I am or get me to, the next level or whatever?
I don't know, it's kind of obvious to me. Like, no offense. That sounds very bad, but like, I don't know, it just is. It's just how I exist. I don't know, like, you just give me a problem, I'll tell you how to fix it. I don't know, like, it just goes in and then it's like, right, there's your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my sort of like, I don't know, people describe intuitive intuition as like a spider web, don't they? Like, that's sort of like it, but like, I've just got like the ability to go on the spider web and take out bits that I need and organise it in a way that really makes sense and makes good advice, and can spot motive and can strategise and stuff like that. So when a problem's presented to me, I just sort of like rub my hands together and I'm like, right, here's the answer. This is what I would do. I weighed it all up in my head, just like that, quickly, based on 5 minutes. This is what I would do. I'd need more information to give more detailed answers.
Yeah, that's kind of like the obvious thing, like you said earlier. But I think there are a lot of times when you probably don't even realize, like you're chucking stuff out at me and you don't realize like you've struck me with an arrow or something. And I don't necessarily respond, but it lodges in there. And, it's kind of like, I mean, it depends on like where we are in the conversation or whatever, but a lot of times it's there and I'll come back to it. Like I hear it in my head and then I start thinking about it. And I don't know that you're always aware, You're just putting things out there.
Right. Sort of like Star Wars, whatever. You're like Luke Skywalker. And then I'm there like, use the Force, Luke. Right?
Yes. Use your special powers. And I get there. It's just slowly. But it's funny because I know in the moment it's something good. I know it. That's why I think I remember it. But I have to go away and weigh it and play with it a bit to get something out of it.
What I always find funny about you,
Oh no.
it's not, like never like think that you can sort of like hold a belief or feeling about something, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's totally on the same page as me, right? And then you're like, guess what? I've just realised something. And I'm like, yeah, what is it? And it's like something that
You already
that
knew I knew.
it's like it's like, yeah, well, obviously we've been talking about this. It's like you've been arguing from that point, but without consciously knowing or like believing it. It's
And
so weird.
yes, well, there's a simple explanation for that because I go by feelings first. And I might know something. I feel confident in it, but I'm not to the point where I can express it in a cohesive, thoughtful way, I guess. And so because I can't do that, I don't recognize it until I get to that stage where I've developed it so that I can talk about it. Then it becomes conscious to me.
It seems really like really hilarious and stupid, but really it's like incredibly developed.
Yes.
Because what you're doing is you're doing what most INFJs don't do, which is hold back and wait for your TI to solve
Yes.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas most would just like react and be like, no, you INTJ, you are evil. I'm always right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm dumping
I've
you.
got
I'm getting rid of you
I've got a
because,
feeling about you.
yes, and that's that you're not giving me the emotional support that I need. So goodbye.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think that's a good thing to talk about because I have heard that before.
All you guys say though, isn't it? All
Yes.
you guys say is, oh, this and so person, they did this, and it's all from this FE.
Yes.
Like, oh, I decided that you're a bad person without trying to understand you.
Yes.
And we are always right. We're the masters of
We're the people masters, right?
it. They say it all over the internet, and it's not good for you guys at all. You become absolutely
Idiotic.
ridiculous,
Right.
stupid.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's because we think we're looking for emotional support, but it takes a little bit of, I don't know. I think that an INFJ starts to come into their own, doesn't prioritize that as high. And of course, as humans, we all need emotional support from time to time. I'm not saying that, but I think, we're looking for something deeper, something meatier than that. And, when I hear people say, oh, I'm done with that INTJ because they didn't give me the emotional support I'm looking for, it tells me a lot about that person and where they are in their personal growth.
Yes, they're misunderstanding.
Yes.
They're not. They're shrugging us off and they're saying, I've decided that you're bad because you said something that I didn't want to hear about myself.
Yes. Yes. You didn't affirm me in my delusions, or you didn't affirm me
Yeah, you didn't
where
blow
I am.
smoke up my arse.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame because it's such like a shallow way of being, because when you can get past that, like a whole new world opens up.
Yes, it really does.
Yes.
Who we are.
The irony is, as an INFJ, what is our greatest pleasure in life? It's to help people grow, right? It's to have a project in someone and to help them reach their potential. We want to kind of walk alongside of them and help them see things about themselves. That is like brings great joy to our lives. So we finally meet someone just like us, because an INTJ, one of your greatest joys is to have a project in another person, right? Is for you to pour yourself into them and to help them grow
Yes.
and be the best they can be. So the INFJ meets someone that has the same goal, and then they reject them.
Hang on a bit, you just criticised me.
Yes.
Try and improve me.
Yeah, so it's like I want to help everyone else become the best versions of themselves, but I want all of you out there to keep me in my little delusion, or to keep me where I am.
That's why we call them anti-narcissists.
Exactly.
Because you're so self-obsessed about helping other people and being benevolent. You're so concerned about being good to other people and pleasing other people and doing that, in that you get caught up with the feelings of it, being a feeler.
Yes.
That you just take for granted that you're perfect. And it's like it doesn't come from a true narcissistic
No. Right.
way. It's just you haven't considered it.
No, and it doesn't.
You're not actually perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
You consider that you're flawed.
Yes.
Or that you can be wrong, or you need improvement.
And it doesn't help when you go through your life hearing things like, "Oh, you're such an angel." I mean, I've heard this my entire life. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have called me an angel. So when you're being reaffirmed in this delusion, it's easy to think that about yourself. Even though deep down inside, I knew I wasn't an angel. I knew it. But, it's kind of easy to go along with it for a while and not rock the boat internally because it's disturbing to do that. I don't know. So do you think we answered the question?
What was the question?
About the INTJ helping the INFJ with self-awareness.
Yeah, I think we got some pretty good stuff there.
I think so too.